Restomod 101.
All right, so we're ready to do the rear. Pull the hubcap off.
How's the spider party on the back?
Oh man, oh my god. I got a major spider problem.
What about rats, snakes?
Rats, snakes, I'm good all day long. They could be all over me, I don't care. But you get a spider on me, I'm running for the hills.
Oh boy.
I don't know, it's just my problem. But I'll be able to manage. We're gonna get through this without freaking out.
Maybe a couple squeals here and there. Now we're good, right?
Yeah, at least that. All right, so we're gonna get this lower shock. Get the lower shock mount off first. There's an eyelet on each end. Nothing too crazy or abnormal in this one.
You want the shock at full extension before you're taking it off, right? So if a car's on the ground, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, on the ground it's gonna be a little more difficult. You could probably do it, but you're gonna have a little bit of a harder time. Better to have it just drooped out right here. And then you're gonna have to, when it is on the rack, you're gonna have to put some preload on the axle to get it to unload. Right now it's pretty much hanging on the shock. So we're gonna use our pit jack. Stay away from the spiders. Get this thing up a little bit. Really, really stiff suspension because these heavy cars are really heavy. So there you go. So you start seeing the eyelet kind of relax a little bit, you should be good to go. Might need a hammer, might not. There we go. There's our lower mount. All right, so we're gonna get this upper shock bolt out of here now. I'm using one of these flex head wrenches with the offset. They work pretty well inside these tight little areas here. Oh my god, spiders. All right.
What size wrench was that?
It's a 19 millimeter. It's actually a 3/4, but 19 works just fine. Now we're gonna have to pry this thing out of here. Let's see how it goes off. Just gotta wiggle it back and forth a little bit. Normally you can get it just like that. All right, here's our old dusted out, worn out shock. Well, we're gonna have to press out. We're gonna have to take out these bushings right here. These come out really easily. One snap ring and they push right out. Because we're gonna run on the stud on the axle and the stud on the cross member there. It's already got the same size as what the sleeve is, so you'll just push it right in. Just use the bushing only. So we'll get that done first, and then you're gonna want to extend this all the way out. You're gonna want to definitely take out the stiffness of the shock because you can't pull these things out when they're any bit stiff. So we'll get those pulled out of there real quick and finish up. Snap ring on each side. He's gonna take out one of them. They are stiff.
Should just crease a bit. It would not keep sipping there. Keep it a little tighter. All right, so get these to the socket of the hammer.
That's all you're taking out of there is this. You don't need that anymore. Good thing our eyelets for the studs on the car are the same exact diameter, so they're gonna pop right in there, no problems.
Do both sides.
See this? See this to the other side? Now ready to throw us in the car now. Okay, before we install our QA1 shock, we're going to be putting in our lowering blocks. They don't make a lowering block kit for this car. You can't find them anywhere. So they just have an odd size center pin on top and the hole in the bottom to center the axle on the leaf spring. Not common at all. You probably know that normally you'll find like a little half-inch little pin coming up to center everything up. So we make these here at Geared for Speed. Set them on a plasma table and weld it all together, fabricated. So if you need some, you know where to get them. The car's on the rack right now, so we're just, obviously we have the U-bolts taken off this side. We're just going to be using the pitch jack just to lift the axle up only, so that way nothing's going to, be dangerous lifting up the car or anything else. So you see just the axles coming up. And we do it with the shocks off to make everything easier. So we can get our block. We decided to go with, we ended up going with a 2.5-inch block on this setup for how low we went in the front, so we can keep a decent rake on the vehicle. You see these things will pop right inside there. Get you set it up on your pin. And there you go. Now, we had ordered the right U-bolts. They didn't come in time, so we had some of these in the shop. These are squared off top ones. They need to be the round ones, obviously, to be correct. But just for this purpose, we're just going to go ahead and show you and install them like this. And then we'll swap them out at a later time. So these bolts are always going to be extra long on the bottom. If you want, you can cut off the remainder of the threads. We normally do. We'll cut off, leave about 1 inch. Just so it doesn't look tacky or catch on anything. Now these U-bolts, when you're tightening them back up, they need to be very, very tight. So we always recommend using impact on them if you can. You're not going to break them. They can take a lot of torque, so just want to have a nice, good clamping power on these things. And then you're going to want to make sure when you tighten these things up, you kind of want to crisscross back and forth just to keep everything even. If you do one side too much, then you're going to have more threads on the other side. It's not going to be even. It just looks and doesn't look right, and it's not going to be even pressure on the block. So. All right, so we're ready for the second block. Just get this here to get ready to support it. Get these U-bolts off here. Just so much crud in these nuts. When you get down to the bottom, towards the end of it coming off, you're gonna want to kind of probably just pull your socket down a little bit so it's halfway on the nut. That way you can pull it out a lot easier, or else it gets jammed inside there with all the dirt and stuff on there. Like that? Just like that. All right, so we jack it up. We got block number 2. Gotta get this thing centered in there pretty good. Sometimes they're hard to get in. Gotta just angle them a little bit. Or just go crazy in there. What's going on over here? Sometimes there's enough dirt stuck on top of these perches that'll keep this thing from hanging up. They're going down in there all the way. There it goes. All right, so we got our lowering blocks in. Now we're ready to put our shocks in. I did want to point out one thing real quick. Whenever you're installing shocks, especially if you're doing a custom shock that's not specifically for a certain vehicle type, people kind of get the misconception of which way they have to go, either this way or this way. It doesn't matter what the old shock, how it was installed, goes. All shocks, they're going to be installed with their label facing upright. If it's upside down like this, if that's how the old shock was put in, say if it was made that way, and you put this shock in this way, you're going to be installing it wrong because the valving is going to be incorrect for the rebound and compression. So always make sure you're installing your shocks with your labels upright, and so you're reading everything, not upside down. All right, so this guy's just gonna pop in right up here. It does have a big cone washer. You know, it's tapered on one side. The rounded concave end goes facing inwards toward the shock. So just note that.
So the cup side.
The cup side goes outward. Yes.
Goes out.
Yeah, cup side goes outward.
So the cup is facing to the outside.
Yeah, the cups to the outside of the where the nut's at. Exactly. All right. So since we are installing a lowering shock, a shock that's not going to be as long as, like, say, the factory one, we're all going to have to. It's going to be a little shorter, so we're going to have to use the pitch jack to push up the axle just to get it hooked onto the stud. Even with the block in there, these cars have a lot of droop. When they're on the ground, they compress a lot before they get at ride height and they're settled in. So when we do this, just to be safe, if you're ever pitch jacking the rear up, like on the suspension where you're actually lifting the leaf spring, you're going to want to have a pitch jack somewhere in the front of the vehicle if you're on the rack, just to keep the weight, keep that front end from dipping down, because you don't want it to come off the rack at all in the back. And that'll make it easier to push up the suspension if the front's supported with another jack. So maybe on there. Don't got to go too much with the block on here now. Wash here, nut. Really no specific torque on these things, just the nice tight snug, nothing crazy. They're lock nuts that are on here from the factory as it is, so they're not going to be backing out or coming off. All right, now we're getting to the top bolt. These are a little bit trickier to get into. You can't really get a gun on them, so we're just going to use our ratchet wrench to get in there. And then these things have like a 20 adjustable points on them. Just pretty much rule of thumb, just start off in the middle, somewhere around 10. I always go just full stiff and then just back it off 10 turns.
And so you always want to make sure that knob is facing on the inside for the rear.
Yeah, you definitely want to have this thing so it's accessible, not up inside here where you can't get to it. So yeah, facing it towards the outside of the wherever you're mounting it to is always the rule of thumb on that. All right, now we got shock number 2. Just so you know, these are all half-inch nuts and washers, so you'll need a 3/4 socket for it. It's a lot better now. It's de-spidered now. He blew it all off and undercoated it.
How many spiders did John do?
I don't even know. I let John do all that part of it. I came in afterward and just did the spraying of it.
Wait, okay, go get all the spiders off, and I'll be back in like an hour.
That's like what I did. I went back, got the paint, came back. Yeah, it was pretty hectic up there. I didn't even want to think about it again.
Man, I don't even recognize this car. The stance looks so good and so different.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Perfect hot rod stance. Still has the look of the lowrider. And these 2.5-inch blocks that we build in house, they work perfect on here with and just a coil and a half cut in the front.
Yep.
And the QA1 shocks are just they're just unbeatable. Honestly, the way they're valving it's just from 0 to perfectly stiff, and this vehicle needs that stiffness. And it'll just ride like a dream, man.
And you know what's so great is it not only looks good, it functions well. And if you can get function and design in one package, I mean, that's just win-win, and it fairly happens. So, Lee, could have done it without you. Thanks, brother. Could have done it without Geared for Speed QA1. Hopefully you learned something, and we'll see you on the next Restomod 101.
See you guys later.
Whoa, stop. Do not close that window just yet. Please click like and subscribe. Those 2 seconds of your time mean the world to us. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you on the next Restomod 101.
Restomod 101.